at the sun on the peak. Look at the sun on the peak.
How do you think he's going to feel at this point?
Absolutely knackered.
Why are you coughing? It smells bad. It does!
What does it take to get a running channel presenter to a mountain ultra race and back and make a video at the same time? Well, you're about to find out. James Dunn, running channel presenter and ultra runner, was taking on the Eiger race, a brutal 101-kilometre race which would be his hardest and longest race to date. And we were heading out to film him tackle this brutal route. Step one was getting out there to film, which thanks to Innovate, the Swiss Tourism Board and Ironman and UTMB was all made possible. But then the challenge was working out how we could track James across the course to film him. We knew it would involve multiple forms of transport and a lot of planning, so we headed out the day before the race to start a recce of the route. Oh wait, Freddie had a quick shopping trip before then.
So here is Freddie's remit. It's all the kit that he has neatly organised, perfectly placed, everything has its spot. But Freddie, what key bit did you actually forget to bring?
I forgot to bring a toothbrush and toothpaste. Have been to the supermarket and stocked it up. Kids bubblegum flavour, ages 3 to 6. Who says you have to grow up?
Downhill, it's about... you could drive a car.
Some pre-race planning.
Breakfast planning meeting done, it was time for the kit drop and to get our travel passes that would allow us onto the ski lifts, trains and cable cars to recce the route.
Thank you so much.
Okay, good luck, so have a good time.
Thank you. Bye.
All good, James? No dramas?
No dramas, I passed with flying colours.
Can you show us your race number?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Now the bag drop fun was done, it was time to head out onto the course. Our aim was to meet James at key locations en route, with me acting as his crew member whilst also grabbing bits on the GoPro and Tom and Freddie focusing on filming on our big cameras and the drone. We couldn't get all the way up to our desired first location as the roads were restricted, but better to know that the day before than on race day at 4 AM. So we picked a car park location instead and then headed up in a cable car to Feist, our second meeting point and a stunning viewpoint location.
Pretty nice location, isn't it?
Pretty stunning, yeah.
Yeah?
Almost doesn't look real, does it? Oh, there's a waterfall as well.
Yeah. Freddie's over there just getting a bit of content. Content king, Freddie. Then we're going to go have a little walk on this, aren't we, James?
Yeah.
If we do it now,
Yeah, it's
then it's going to be easier tomorrow.
Yeah.
Come on, I'll hold your hand.
Bit of context here, James is petrified of heights, has a history of vertigo, and this section of the route was a cliff walk where you can see through the bridge attached to the side of the rock. As you can imagine, he loved this bit.
Definitely adding to the race anxiety.
It then got even worse for James.
Why are you coughing? It smells bad. It does!
What did you just do, Tom?
May have a broken wind, I think is the official term, but in an enclosed space at 34-degree heat. Right, where are we, lads?
So, we've just come to, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Berglafen, definitely pronounced that wrong, which is going to be a key point for James because here he has a decision to make. He can either run through here, carry on up, and that takes him to the 101k course, or there is a sneaky bail out now option to go down here, and then that means it's a 51-kilometre route. Obviously, all three of us are going to be here tomorrow going, that way! It's the only option. But how do you think he's going to feel at this point?
Absolutely knackered.
Just doing another recce, and we are at the 93k mark.
So this will be the last time we see James until the finish. There's a food station just behind us here, but we don't know the area. There's a restaurant and everything, so I imagine at this point he'll just want to be sleeping and be very hungry and painful and unhappy. But
It's the final push,
it's the
this
final
bit.
push. Fun.
And he will have the lovely joys of Freddie waiting for him at about 3 AM.
Yeah. I'll probably be half asleep by then.
So the recce was done, kit all packed, James prepped and everything set for a day of racing. All that was left to do was to cram in some sleep before our 3 AM alarm went off and we stumbled out of bed to the start line.
Right, it is nearly 3:30 in the morning.
and we are awake. James is having his breakfast, and then we're going to head down to the start and get this thing going.
The man of the moment. What did you say to me?
I don't think I've ever started a race in the dark before.
Well, it's dark.
Today's the day. And I just remembered I need to start my tracker.
Sorry.
So I put a reminder on my phone because I
Nice.
knew I'd forget otherwise.
Are you buzzing?
No, but when I press a button it will. Haha. No, I know. I am.
So the race had started and we began our own race to checkpoint 1. Who would have thought you'd get stuck in a traffic jam at 4 a.m?
Where's James? Go on, James! Woo! See you in a minute, mate.
Each checkpoint was an opportunity to not only film James but get a gauge of how the race was going. It was clear from the first checkpoint that nerves were high and doubts were creeping in about whether he could even finish it.
The guy behind me has raced this 4 times and DNF'd every time because he got caught with the cut-offs. Gonna keep him behind me all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's he going to be? Right, well. You got this, mate. You got this. Keep on keeping on.
We then headed up the mountain in the chairlift and caught the sunrise on the top of Fierce. It was chilly, so we layered up in the Innovate VentureLite range and waited for James to appear from the valley. We could track him on the app, which was really useful. As it turns out, blue is a popular colour of race t-shirts.
That is the shot. Look at the sun on the peak. Look at the sun on the peak.
It's warming up.
Freddie's gone down there for a sec to film some B-roll of runners going up in the corner and the sunrise. We're in position at the top here with the drone.
Here's a fun little behind the scenes fact. So right now we are in a stunning location and there is a shot literally every single way. Every single direction that you look in, you could get a shot. However, if you watch a video like this, James is currently just over 9k in. So when he sees Freddie down there, he'll be coming up to 20k. No one really is that interested in the first 20k of a 100k race. Nothing dramatic will have happened. So from our side, it's about controlling the excitement to film hours of footage that probably won't get used. But it is stunning.
It's a shame that we didn't get to use all these in the main video, so here's a homage to the drone shots that you could have had if this was a more dramatic point in the race. I'm just still slightly baffled by the temperature difference. It's going to be getting up to about 32 degrees today, but for now it is bloody freezing. So I'm very glad that we are head to toe in the Innovate VentureLite equipment because you definitely want to be warm when you're doing this. It was then time for the crew to split.
Hello there. So I've been dropped off at the train station. Tom and Sarah have gone up to a place called Scheinigplatz. Forgive my pronunciation, I don't speak a word of German. They've gone up there to the top of the mountain to catch James as he comes through, get some cool drone shots, that kind of thing. Meanwhile, I'm going on to a place called Berlaugen, I think. That's the next point on the race where we can see James, and that's kind of the crucial point where the route veers off onto the 50k one or the 101k one.
Meanwhile, me and Tom had a very relaxing journey up the mountain on the train, took in the view, had an ice cream, even FaceTimed Tom's mum to show her the music at the top, all whilst James was still running to meet us. Oh, and we did one other thing.
That was really fast.
So this is Berglaunen. The runners actually come right to this train station and they cross the tracks and then go down to the next part. The bit where the route splits off into two is just down there, and then there's an aid station all the way back there.
Welcome to an aid station. So this is Scheinigplatz,
which is another supporter station, but you basically just do it yourself. So we have some mango, which is technically mine, but I thought you might like it. Some tuck biscuits, some pretzels, gels, and some Coke, which is staying cool in my bag.
We waited at the top of the mountain for James, who was having a really tough day. We'd been tracking him and knew he was chasing the cutoff time, so we made the decision to descend the mountain with him to the next checkpoint where Freddie was waiting, as we suspected he might get timed out before we reached Freddie. Our job here was to support James and then document his thoughts and feelings about the race.
So while I'm waiting here for James, Tom and Sarah, my job is basically just to film as much B-roll as possible, basically. So that's all the runners coming through, getting food, water, all that kind of stuff. Just things that will basically help paint the picture of the edit, essentially.
Freddie had a while to wait as our descent down the mountain was taking much longer than expected. It was baking hot, James was struggling, and it was looking more and more unlikely that he could even finish the race.
Yeah. Hope you got that on film.
So it's past 5 o'clock here. It's actually 17 past 5, and that means anyone coming through here who was doing the 101 kilometre race has to pull out, unfortunately. And that includes James.
James had missed the cut-off for the checkpoint, but he was also unsure as to whether he'd be allowed to finish the 51k race. He had around 2 kilometres left to descend to get to Freddie, with this uncertainty hanging over him. It was a brutal few moments and required grit and determination to keep going.
They do get to go on. Go that way, cross and left.
It's worth asking the customer.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, you need to go through the map and the headset with the walkie-talkie on. Hello.
Hello. Hey. Finish 51?
Yes,
Okay.
he wants to switch.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's okay.
He needs to switch.
Yeah. Otherwise I'm out.
There's no other choice. Switch or quit. Okay.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh. Okay. Oh. I would hug you, but I'm very smelly. Right.
Happy?
Happy.
New finish line.
I don't have to cry again. I feel like I've done that enough.
No, good.
He could finish, which was a huge relief. But we hadn't recce'd the 51k route, and so this was all off script and off plan. I went with James with a GoPro to make sure someone would be there at the finish. Meanwhile, Freddie and Tom raced back to the car park on the train to drive to the finish. The race to the finish was on.
So we are just driving back to Grindelwald now. James is doing the 50k route, so he's got about 7k, is it left now? 7k. And because Sarah's not here, hi, we've got shotgun.
Final climb, mate. Final climb.
No, still got that little tiny
Oh, the bridge.
bridge climb.
James had almost made it, but Freddie and Tom technically won as they beat him to the finish. Although maybe don't tell James I said that.
Is climbing 2 minutes. Sara Alman, kör! Vi grabbar riktigt gas.
All that was left to do was just relive it all again. Nope, not joking. After a good night's sleep, we headed back into the mountains, close actually to the first checkpoint, where we interviewed James and went over the whole race. He DNF'd and had a pretty savage day in the office, so this is a moment for him to reflect, process the race, and also give advice to the running channel community.
How's it feel, James?
I just want to lie down now. I'm very tired after yesterday. Done 7,000 steps after an ultra marathon. But actually, reliving this race has been
weirdly very therapeutic. So I'm glad I get to do this piece to camera post-race because it's really let me unpack everything and hopefully repack it and move on from it.
Well, now Freddie and Tom get to relive it because they'll be the ones to get this footage onto their laptops, edit this video that you're watching right now and the actual main video. So if you haven't gone and watched James's epic ultra marathon, then definitely go and check that out. And also, why not check out some other running channel videos whilst you're here? If there's anything else that you want to see from us, let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time, hopefully from another lovely location like Switzerland. Bye.